What you're seeing here is the login page of GIOM application. In real case scenario, it won't be that case because it will be interfaced with the Active Directory of that organization. So what you'll see is an app on the desktop. So when you click on GIOM app, it will directly take you to the landing page. But here, since it's a demo, I'll log in as a standard user. So what you're seeing here is the landing page of GIOM. And this is purely role based and access control. Let me assume that I'm a teller in a bank, so I've logged in as a teller. So on the left hand side, what you're seeing, the library, is the area of business which is relevant to my role as a teller. So as a teller, I want to know an account opening process. So I can search here, on the search bar, or if I've already added on my favorites, I can directly pick it up from favorites, or the conventional way is to go from the library. So I click on retail banking, customer service, and centralized account opening process. So what you're seeing here, the icon is called node. So when I click on node, let me enlarge this. What you're seeing here is an end-to-end centralized account opening process in a graphical form. So how do we come up with this? We consume the standard operating procedures from the organization. We make sense of it. We have pool of expertise from banking background and from various background. So they make sense of it. They convert that to a graphical form. And if you observe this map, what you see here is just boxes and lines. We have made it simple so that any end user can understand. So we have not included any technical notation here. And we have color coded. Whichever is done manually, we have color coded in blue. Whichever is done on an IT system, we have color coded in yellow. So now let me start the first activity. Here it says allocate the document in a processing queue. So which document needs to be allocated? This is where we have introduced a concept called pinning. So what you're seeing here, the red pin, when I click on this red pin and click here, it tells me that this is that account opening process, an updated account opening process which I need to hand over to the customer while performing an account opening process. Similarly, there are processes where you need to adhere to compliance. I mean, you can't go wrong on those processes. For those kind of processes, we can also create a small checklist. So here, this activity says check document. So when I click on this, it tells me there is an account opening checklist. So while performing this process, I need to ensure that I tick all these boxes so that I adhere to compliance. So now let me come to the IT system. So here we say create customer record. We can write a sequence of steps to explain how to perform in an IT system, but we feel it is an inefficient way of doing. So what we do is we install our software, we capture one transaction and we create a screen simulation out of it. So how do we do that? When I click on this customer record pin, it says there is one IT screen simulation. So when I click on launch, it gives me two options. One is demonstration, another is tutorial. Let me click on the first mode called demonstration. So what you're seeing here is a self-run video of that particular IT system. Here we have taken an example of Finacle IT screens, but we are not confined to any IT system. So it can be Finacle, it can be a FlexCube, it can be a Temenos, or it can be Treasury, any IT system. So I am not doing anything. It's purely a self-run video which we captured using our screen capture. So let's assume that if I join any organization, I might have worked in a different IT system. This gives me an opportunity to see how exactly the new IT system looks like. Or whenever any upgrades happen, this is a place where I can always come here and I know that this is how the new system looks like. So just watching will not help me. Say if I want to practice, let me close this and click on the next mode called tutorial. So here the self-run video stops. So now I can go and click. So let me click here. It says congratulations, your answer is correct. Let me click somewhere else. The system says sorry, your answer is incorrect, and it does that particular step for me. So here I get a near user hands-on experience. So it doesn't stop with training. This is beyond training. Let's assume that I'm serving a customer in a bank. So I know till step number 18 and I don't know what is step number 19 is. Generally, what happened? People pick the phone, they call the help desk to find out what is the next step is, or they might find out from their neighbor. But using GIOM, you can always switch your screen. You have a search button, and I know step number 18. I don't know what is step number 19 is. When I click on this, it tells me that this is a step which I need to perform. So A, you're serving the customer then and there. B, you're saving the cost by not calling the help desk. So GIOM is beyond training as well. So watching the video will help me. Practicing, yes, as an end user it helped me. But if you think from a supervisor point of view, from management point of view, you know how to assess them whether they have really understood the IT screen simulations or not. So we have another mode called a test mode, the IT screen simulation test mode. So when I go click on the home, so we have this IT screen simulation test. So now I click on the same customer creation. Here, if you see, I don't have any cue card, I don't have any assistance, so I need to take the test. So each and every click is recorded. Okay, so once I end the test, everything will get stored in the database, and from supervisor point of view, I can see it as a test result. So that's something which I'll cover at the end. So now let me come to the next feature. So I'll get back to the same centralized account opening where we were. So we started with the documents, the related forms, and the IT screen simulation. So there's another module called Policy Builder. When a central bank comes up with the regulations and policies, when they publish on the website, not all the regulations and policies which has been published may be applicable to my organization or to my bank. There will be only few clauses, maybe 100 or 20 clauses, which may be applicable to my bank. So using our policy builder, what we do is we consume those regulations and policies from central bank, which is in a PDF format, and we convert that to an editable format. So using that editable format, we create our own clauses, our own regulation book, which my bank people can understand. So that is where, when I click on this particular folder, so we can create a department specific regulations, or we can also pin the clauses to an activity level of a particular process. So now let me click on this, and here we have created a central bank circular for my organization. So I believe these are the 10 clauses which is relevant to my bank, which my people can understand. So in this level, or if I get back to the centralized account opening process again, I can also pin them to this particular process. So I can pin them on a activity level as well. So what I'm saying here is for centralized account opening process, these are the three clauses which I need to be aware of. So whatever clauses which we created for the department might be for a department, but a particular process, these are the clauses which I need to be aware of while performing an account opening process. So there is, always a question raised saying that, it's a dynamic environment. The policies and procedures keep changing. How do you communicate that to an end user? Or how do you notify the changes? So this is where, we have come up with a concept called ops analyzer. So when I click on ops analyzer, let's assume that central bank has come up with the changes in a customer identification process. So I click on the search button, and let me select the customer identification process. So the concept here is what we are saying, if we touch this particular clause called customer identification procedure, these are the process which will have an impact. These many people, three roles will be impacted by this. This is a regulation book which will have an impact, and these are documents which will be impacted by that. So we have this impact analysis, which is a system intelligence which is built in within the GIOM application. And the beauty of this is we have also come up where we can maintain the track record. So on August 2nd, while touching this clause, where are the other touch points, where are the other touch base I have made? So I know that I have also seen these many processes while performing this particular clause, while touching base this particular customer identification process. So we can pick few elements like centralized account opening node and send it across to the business owner and write a comment saying that look, there has been a change in the customer identification process, and we believe that it will have an impact in this centralized account opening node as well. So we can actually select the target audience, send it across to them, and it will go through a review and approval process. And once the review and approval process happen, the older version will get archived, the new version will be released. So when the new version is released, that new version, the published version, will be sent across to the people who have been impacted by these changes, and they need to acknowledge. There'll be an email where there'll be an acknowledge button. So once they acknowledge, as a supervisor from management point of view, I know that that person have gone through that regulation change and he has acknowledged. But in most of the cases, from our little experience, people do acknowledge, but they really don't go through that regulation change. So how do you assess them? How do you monitor them whether they have really gone through the regulation change or not? So we have come up with another feature called MCQ. So we can assign them a small multiple choice question test. So when I click on this, let me start the test. So here it says, what are the additional documents required if the customer utility bill is in the name of his spouse? So if I have gone through that regulation change, I would be in a position to answer this. Let me take leave. So by this, I know that whether this person have really gone through that regulation change or not. It We are not confined to just regulation change. Even if any new product is launched, if you want to assess them on the process readiness, the product readiness, whether they have understood the product or not, you can always come here and you can throw a multiple choice question test, so that they can take the test. So initially, where you saw that IT screen test is more to assess them on their IT system readiness, but if you want to assess them on the process readiness, you can always make use of this MCQ test. So here it says that my score is 5. So these many tests I have taken, I mean these many questions I have taken, and these are the number of correct answers. And this will get stored in the database, and you can see it as a reports as well. So let me come here where you see the test reports. So when I click on MCQ reports, so I can actually see the number of attempts I have made and what is my score. So this is more from the standard user point of view. When I log in as a power user, I can see it across the users as well. So then you can take a call whether this person is eligible to go on board or he needs further training. This person has really understood the regulation changes. Has this person have understood the product features? Or I can also come back to the reports, and I can also see the IT screen simulation test report which I have taken. So using this test result, you can actually take a call whether the person have really understood the IT system as well. So you can assess both the IT system readiness and the process readiness. So to summarize, what we do is we consume the standard operating procedure, which is in a textual format. We make sense of it, we convert that to a graphical form, and we pin all the related elements for that particular process. So we pin the related process document, we pin the related forms, we pin the related regulation, we pin the related IT screen simulation. So that's the power of GIEOM, the interlinkage. And the beauty is the ops analyzer. It also tells you the impact if any changes happen, and what are the, it also gives you the impact analysis as well. If any changes happen, what are the other business area which will be impacted, and it is also notified to the end user. So to conclude, on an overall, GIOM can be a very good operational excellence tool, a change management tool, a compliance tool, as well as a training tool as well.